I'm not a big weed person. It's like all the rage in Hollywood. Just Hollywood. Or LA, I guess. People just assume I'm high all the time. Like, you probably at home now think, oh, she's high. But I just have very squinty eyes. And I talk, like, I have this southern drawl, and I talk slow, so it just sounds like I'm high. But I'm not. And I had, at this point, when I did this weed dinner, what I did was I filmed a thing with Chelsea Handler for this documentary she was doing on drugs. And she goes, do you want to come to my house and eat a 5-course meal that's been cooked with marijuana? And I, at that point had weed maybe 5 times in my entire life. But she was like, oh, it's like a chef that's making it. It's really good food. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And normally I don't like green stuff. But I was like, you got it. Let's do it. So I go to her house, and I just thought it'd be like a fun life experience. And we start eating this 5-course meal, and it is amazing. Like, it is the best food I've ever eaten. And I have no self-control when it comes to food. Like, thank God they don't put heroin in brownies. And I start eating this, and I'm eating all of it. I'm just like down in it. And we're like on course 3 at this point. Everybody else I've noticed, Chelsea, she's just kind of like eating a couple bites. Josh Wolf, he smokes weed all the time. He's just eating like part of the portions. I'm down in the sink. And and then I was like telling myself, by the time dessert was about to come, I was like, I probably should I should not probably eat dessert. And then it was bread pudding. And those are 2 of my favorite foods, bread and pudding. And so I ate all of that too. And the waiter comes over, and I was like, hey man, can I ask, like, how much weed do you think that we've eaten? And he was like, well, let's just say you ate everything. I was like, let's just say I did. And I'm like, on a scale of like, from like Michael Phelps to Snoop Dogg, how high am I right now? He's like, you probably had about 5 joints. And I was like, what? and like, as you know, with like edibles, you don't know when it's gonna hit you, And I'm like, I'm feeling fine. I'm like, maybe this is my superpower. Like, if I were in a Marvel movie, I'd be like, I can eat all the edibles ever, and I'm good. And so I think I'm in the clear. I'm having the time of my life. We're all laughing. And then all of a sudden, my right eyelid just slammed shut. Just, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. I have one eye. And so I try to take my right arm to open my eye. And I realized that I had no control over my right arm. And I'm just smacking myself on my right arm, and it's not working. And so I stand up, and I'm like, okay, I just got to go to the kitchen. I got to go get some water, and I'm going to be okay. And I start walking with my one eye, and I realize I can't walk. So I'm walking like a newborn pony, like this. And I'm like one of those sad, like, Sarah McLachlan animals. Like, oh. And Chelsea's so embarrassed because I can't handle my weed. So she's like, oh my God, just send them home. So they put us all in a cart to go home. And now I think in my really high brain that I just passed out, and like I get home and everything's fine. And I remember being passed out in the car, and I'm like, I feel my jaw moving. That's weird. And I get home, passed out, and the next day I call Josh, and I'm like, hey man, like, oh, I don't remember anything about the ride home. Like, what happened? Did I just pass out? He's like, literally every single house we passed by, you told us what year that house was built, how many bedrooms it has, what the schools are like in the neighborhood, the square footage. Like, I became a real estate agent on this 30-minute ride home. It was the crazy. I don't have any recollection of it whatsoever, but I did sell 3 houses. So that was really fun.